Audrey, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Before we get started, would you like to tell a little bit about yourself?
I am 40, about to be 41 next month. I just had my fifth baby. I have a bonus daughter. This is 6 children for me. I started having children in my 20s. So I've had babies in my 20s, 30s, and now at 40. And it's different every time.
Let's go back to when you had your birthday and finding out that you were pregnant.
At 40, I was probably at my healthiest point in life. In the last couple of years, I started just eating better and living like a healthier lifestyle. And my husband and I we were just, if it happens, if it doesn't, we were just in that kind of mindset. And I turned 40. We went to Miami to celebrate my 40th birthday. And a month later, found out we were pregnant.
So it was a good vacation then.
Yeah.
And were you just late on your cycle? Is that what prompted you to take a test?
Actually, we were on a family vacation in Utah, and we had just gotten there. And I think on the second or third day, we went on a big long hike. And I came home and I was absolutely exhausted. I took a bath and went to bed. And I woke up the next morning and we had plans to go hiking again and do some more fun things on our vacation. And I just couldn't get out of bed. I was so sick and just didn't feel right. So my husband took the kids and they did some fun stuff. And while he was gone, he was texting me throughout the day and asking how I was doing. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is like altitude poisoning or what. There's something that happens when you're like in the mountains that could have been what it was. And I thought maybe it was that. And I said, but maybe just get a pregnancy test just to be sure, because I was nauseous and just not feeling right. He came home from the day with the kids and he didn't have a pregnancy test with him. I think he thought I was kidding. But I was like, nope, you got to go. You got to go back. You got to go to the store and go get me this test. So he went, he got it, and I took it right away. And actually there were 2 lines and one was really light. And I was like, so I must be pregnant, must be really early on. But then looked at the test and the instructions that come in it and saw that the light line was there's one line that's a test line and one line that's the control line. It was the test line that was super dark. So they call that a dye stealer test. Like you have so much of that hormone, that HCG or whatever it is, that makes the dye in the test super dark and it steals the dye from the control line. And I was like, oh my gosh, so I'm very pregnant. And then I started worrying that I was having twins because the line was so dark. And I actually started showing right away too. So we found out while we were on vacation in Utah.
And what were you thinking whenever you saw that positive test?
It's so funny. Like I even though I have a lot of kids, I've never had the feeling of I'm done. I don't want to have any more. I like waited to have that feeling and it just never happened. And finding out that I was pregnant, even though it wasn't planned, this is what we want. It's always exciting. It's always exciting to find out you're having another baby.
And how was your pregnancy?
I don't like being pregnant. I love babies, but I do not like being pregnant. It's just not fun for me. I know that there's women out there that just love it and they have the pregnancy glow and they just love everything about it. And that is just not me. I get sick. I'm sick for the first half, throwing up and just feeling like it's an endless hangover. And then the second half is just like uncomfortable and big and nothing fits and all that. Pregnancy is hard for me.
Did you have any challenges during pregnancy?
This pregnancy was the first time that I had gestational diabetes. I knew how to eat to make that okay. I know that there's some people that have to have medication and things like that for gestational diabetes, but I was able to control it with diet. So that was good. It's not as fun because you don't just get to eat whatever you want and craving cake, have cake and that kind of thing. Looking back, I think it was good that I was able to just eat in a healthy way and knowing that was going to be the best for my baby and the best for me.
What did you change to your diet?
I focused mostly on protein, made sure that I wasn't having anything sugary without some protein at least. I still had treats here and there, but I made sure that I did it in a healthy way. They do that test early in the 3rd trimester. I stressed about it when they told me.
What about your medical team? Did you use the same as you did for the other pregnancies?
My first 2, I did, and those were in my 20s. I had them in a hospital with an epidural. My second was induced. When I got pregnant with my 3rd, this was in my 30s. I don't know if it was just a maturity thing or that there was just more information out there, but I decided that I wanted to do it natural and that I wanted to have a water birth. So for my 3rd and 4th, I had them both in the water with midwives, and I knew that was what I wanted to do this time around too. It didn't quite go that way, but that was the plan, to do a water birth at a birth center with no interventions or drugs.
And how was the water birth compared to your other births?
Amazing.
It sounds
I
great.
mean, it really is. There's something about being in the water. It's calming. It's an intense feeling regardless. And I think the water is just very soothing and both soothing for the mother and the baby. So I highly recommend it. It's just amazing.
And so you used the same midwife from your water births for this one?
The same group.
Oh,
They can't really promise you which midwife you're going to have because there's a few of them, and whoever is on call is who's going to be with you. But I did know the one that was with me this time. It was nice.
that's fun. And I believe you found out the sex of your.
I did. My husband didn't want to find out with the others, but I put my foot down this time. I was like, I really want to know, because our last 2 were girls, and I'd saved some from their baby and toddler years. I'd saved some clothes and some things just in case. And I just wanted to be prepared this time around if I was going to need to. I really thought that we'd be having another girl. I really did. It's just funny how that kind of stuff works out, because with both of them, I thought they were both boys.
So funny.
My intuition is completely off.
Take us back to that day whenever you found out.
Oh, it was just, I think my husband had COVID and he was in bed, and I went, that I guess I found out, the doctor found out through a blood test. Like when you're of advanced maternal age, you have to have all these tests done, and more so than when you're not. And so we had whatever blood tests and whatever tests done we had to have. And when those came back, they put the results in an envelope and sealed it up. And so I went and picked that up and brought it home and came upstairs. My husband was in bed with COVID and not in the best of moods, but we didn't want to wait. I think we were both 99% sure this was going to be another girl. And when I opened it, we were both just shocked that we were going to have a boy. After that, we wanted to surprise the kids and make it exciting for them. So I went and got some boy things like boy clothes and a boy rattle or whatever, and I put it in a box, and we let all the kids open that together and find out as a family what we were having.
That's really cute. And was there any products that you couldn't live without that you would recommend?
I did get a big pregnancy pillow that was great for a little while, and then it's too much pillow in the bed.
It's so big.
I think my husband felt the same way. I think we were ready to get rid of that thing. I took Unisom to help with nausea and
Mhm.
sleeping at night. That was really helpful. I had never taken that with any of my other pregnancies. Sleeping while you're pregnant is hard. You think it's going to be hard when the baby's here. I could sleep like a baby now. I could sleep really well now if I could.
Uh-huh.
But pregnancy is it's so hard.
Is it
You
hard to
can't
get comfortable?
It's hard to get comfortable. You have to get up and pee so many times at night, and the baby's kicking. As soon as you lay down, the baby's kicking because it's not getting rocked rocked to sleep while you're moving around. So yeah, that's one of the hardest things for me is just knowing I'm not going to have a lot of sleep once the baby's here, but you really can't get the sleep.
How did this pregnancy compare to the others? Was it better or worse, the same?
I might have been a little more tired, but I was also very mindful about staying active and really fueling my body with the right foods. And if I was craving things, just knowing that it's because I was lacking in some kind of nutrients. I was just very mindful of how I was eating, how I was exercising and doing yoga and taking time for myself. I would say that was better this time around. Being pregnant in your 20s is a lot different than being pregnant at 40 for sure. I definitely don't feel like I bounce back as fast. You got to give yourself some grace.
Is there any other differences between your 20s and being pregnant at 40?
How they treat you at the doctor's office for sure. They
What they
do all kinds.
do?
There's a lot more tests and things
Mm.
that they're looking for different things, but I really tried not to pay much attention to that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many more people getting pregnant later, like after 35 than before 35. People, women have careers and jobs and they're waiting longer. And I think that's all good. I loved having babies young, but I also feel like I'm at a much better phase of my life now for both pregnancy and raising children for sure.
And how did you prepare for this baby?
This time around, I really focused on postpartum. With the other pregnancies, I feel like I was a lot more focused on pregnancy and childbirth. But this time around, I really wanted to learn about postpartum and the best way to take care of myself and the baby in that fourth trimester. I ended up getting my husband a book called The First 40 Days, which talks about how our culture is like one of the only cultures in the world that doesn't focus on that postpartum period. Everyone else, they take care of the mom in that postpartum period, and we just don't. We
Yeah.
just don't do that here. But anyway, this book talks about that, and then there's a bunch of recipes of these nurturing and healing foods and recipes to have in that fourth trimester that help you heal and just really take care of the early relationship between mother and baby.
Or I guess stuff and bassinets. Did you already have all that stuff?
No, we live in a 3-bedroom townhouse. We just don't have the room to keep that stuff.
Mm.
And so the baby before this one, she's 6 now. We had gotten rid of all the pack and plays and the strollers and the crib and everything. This time around, we're really keeping it minimal. We don't have a nursery. We don't have a crib. I have the baby in one of those bassinets next to the bed that like pushes right up against the bed so that it's co-sleeping. He'll be in that until he's too big for it. And then we'll see what happens. We might put a pack and play next to the bed. We might get a crib and put it in one of the little girls' room across the hall. We're just taking it day by day. We don't have the space to be just
Yeah.
getting all the things.
What about cravings? Did you have any?
I don't think I had any crazy cravings. There were things that I didn't want for sure. I love coffee and I love red wine. I didn't want anything to do with them. I didn't want to smell it. I didn't want to be anywhere near it during my pregnancy. That's so funny.
Yeah, I believe gave birth at 36 weeks.
37.
37. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that day and how it started, because I think you got induced, right?
I did. So at 35 weeks, I found out that I had this condition called cholestasis, which is a liver condition that happens during pregnancy, just not very often. But I started having like itchiness, and not just the normal like stretchy skin itchiness that you have. It was different. So I mentioned it to the midwives, and they did this test and found out that I have this cholestasis, which doesn't cause any danger to me, but they like to induce the baby at 37 weeks because there's higher risk if you deliver after that. So my plan to have this natural water birth, just go into labor naturally and have the baby in the water plan, didn't quite work out, but I wanted to keep it as natural as I possibly could. The midwife said that they could try to induce with a castor oil cocktail, which I had done with my previous two anyway, so I knew that worked for me. They also did one of those, like a Foley catheter to open the cervix, but we did decide to have the birth at a hospital instead of a water birth, just to be on the safe side because of the risks of this cholestasis diagnosis. It went a lot better than I had a lot of fears of the natural induction not working and having to have an epidural and it not going well, and then having a C-section. I had a lot of fears, but it ended up going a lot better than that. Yeah, they induced at 37 weeks. I went in and saw the midwives. They gave me a castor oil cocktail and did the Foley bulb. And
Was that
that was it.
painful?
No,
Okay.
not at all. I guess some women might have some cramping and discomfort with it, but I didn't have anything. So we did that at 8 a.m. And then I went back to, since we delivered in a hospital that's 2 hours from where we live, that's where the birthing center is. So we were staying at an Airbnb, and I went back to the Airbnb with my husband and the kids, and he started cooking. He wanted to make a nice lunch. I played board games with the girls and just waited for things to get started. And around 10 a.m., I started having some contractions. They weren't super intense, but they were very close together. I was using like an app on my phone to just time things, and the contractions were like super close together. And at one point, my phone, the app told me like, it's time to go to the hospital. And I was like, well, that can't be. Like, these contractions are nothing. Like, they can't have happened that fast.
What time was that?
Playing. So this was between 10 and 11 a.m. And I kept hanging out with the girls, and my husband's in the kitchen cooking, and these contractions kept happening, and I was totally fine. The girls probably didn't even know that I was having contractions. And then my phone once again told me like it's time to go to the hospital. So I called the midwife and I said, I'm having contractions and they're close together, but they're not super intense. And she said, let's just go ahead and go to the hospital and see what's going on. So we met at the hospital at 12, and I got set up in the room. It was very quiet, very calm. There was one nurse and my midwife, and they got me hooked up on the wireless monitors so that I could walk around. The contractions continued, and it was around, I think, 1:00 where they started getting more intense. And I said, okay, I'd like to get in the shower to calm me. And so even though I couldn't have a water birth like in a tub, I figured the shower was the next best thing.
Yeah, be a little more relaxed.
Yeah, and that was helpful. I got in the water, and just having the shower on my back was helpful. And they started getting more intense for sure. Like I was shaking through the contractions. And my midwife and my husband were there and just standing there talking to me. And I did mention, like I asked, like, why am I shaking so much? Because the contractions were strong, but not intolerable. And the midwife told me that's when you're in transition, that's happening. And when you're in transition, that's the real deal. She's, yeah, this baby's coming. The baby's going to be here in 20 minutes, maybe. At that point, like she asked me if I wanted to stay in the shower, and I did because the water was really helping. And she put some towels down on the floor, and I got down on my hands and knees, and my water broke at like 1:30, and baby was out at 1:43.
Wow.
So it happened really quickly. It didn't feel quick like when I was in it, but it really did. It happened really fast.
And you were induced at 8, baby at 1:45.
Yeah, 8 a.m. with a castor oil cocktail.
Yeah. And your water broke at 1:30 and baby at 1:45.
Yeah.
How interesting. Is there a reason why your water didn't break earlier?
I don't know. From what I understand, like people who have their water break, like in the grocery store, or it doesn't happen very often. I think that it happens a lot closer to when the baby comes. I know that when I had babies in the hospital, they broke my water for me. So who knows when it would have happened had it happened naturally. I don't know. But I think it was very similar for my water births, that it broke closer to when the baby comes out. It's not, at least for me, and maybe I don't know the statistics on that, but yeah, my water breaks, and then within an hour is when the baby comes for me.
Now, since you were in the shower, could you feel your water breaking?
Yeah, it was a big pop, like a big pop and a gush. So I know that's different for some people. It's like a trickling, like they don't feel their water break. Maybe because I was contracting so hard and I was in transition then. So maybe that's why it happens that way.
And the midwife caught your baby.
Yeah, it was really cool. He came out, and the cord was, she said, wow, he's got like a jump rope of a cord. Like this, I don't know how long a normal cord is, but mine was 10 feet long, and it was wrapped around his neck a couple times, and it also had a true knot, which is, it doesn't happen very often, and it can be pretty dangerous.
Sure.
But so that was an amazing thing too. I feel like he's just like this miracle baby.
Yeah. And so she caught him and put him in your arms, thinking during that time?
Just relief. I really worried about this whole cholestasis diagnosis. It caused a lot of anxiety for me, and knowing the increased risk of stillbirth for that, I just could not wait to have him in my arms, knowing that he was okay. And so when she gave him to me, it was just waiting to hear him cry, and seeing that he was okay is just beautiful.
Yeah, so sweet. And how has recovery been going?
Because I really focused on postpartum this time, I feel like I was a lot more prepared, and I really took it easy this time. Like before, I feel like a lot of women are in such a rush to get back to their life and all the chores and their job and everything. And I was that in my previous pregnancies. I really pushed myself to get back up on my feet and get out and go out. I think with one of the last babies I had, we like went out to dinner when she was less than a week old. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, yeah, no big deal. I can do this. We can go out and live our lives. I'm not going to let this keep me in bed. And that's just, I have this totally different perspective now. Like, you really need to take it easy and take care of yourself. And the more rest that you take in those first couple weeks, the faster you heal. I was really happy to do that and take that time to figure out breastfeeding and allow myself the time to heal. And it was just a really positive thing this time around. And my husband was totally on board for that. He fixed me these awesome recipes out of that book I was talking about and just really took care of me. And I think that things went so much more smoothly because of that.
Can you describe a meal or two that you had from that book?
Yeah. So the book talks about how you should have everything warm, like no salads, no ice water, nothing cold. Like you should have all these warm, comforting meals. So there's a lot of stew recipes with just very easy to digest foods so that your body can focus on healing rather than digesting all these, all these foods. So it's easy to digest. I think like my favorite thing he made was like this couscous with vegetables and like a soup with some meat in there for protein. And it's delicious. And I think he made enough to last for the week. So I had that every day.
And did your symptoms go away after you gave birth?
Symptoms of that cholestasis?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what they expect. It's just this weird pregnancy thing that happens to some people. I had never had it before, but I guess once you've had it once, you're a lot more likely. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, you're more than likely going to have it for following pregnancies.
How was breastfeeding?
It went really well in the beginning. We're having some challenges now at 3 months. I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. Is it a supply issue? I do pump, and I was giving him bottles here and there of breast milk, and he might prefer bottles just because they're easier. The milk comes out faster and he doesn't have to work as hard. We're figuring it out. I'm pushing through. I really want to give it my all and just make sure that I can continue as long as possible. My goal is a year. We're gonna figure it out together.
And how has this breastfeeding journey been compared to your other kids?
I feel like it's different every time around. Every baby's different, and it's just funny how they throw you for a loop every time. It's funny because my first, I feel like, was the easiest. I didn't have any challenges. Like, just she latched right away and everything went smoothly, and I never gave it a second thought. Didn't worry about anything, never thought twice about my supply, didn't worry about what I ate. And then my second, he had terrible reflux. And looking back, maybe he had a tongue tie, and I had a very fast letdown. So all three things just threw us, and I ended up giving up, and I put him on formula. Then my third and fourth, they did well. I think my third maybe had a tongue tie, but we pushed through that, and just that was the first I'd even heard of a tongue tie being a thing. I feel like sometimes there's so much information out there that it's too much. It makes you think too much about it. Third and fourth did okay. Yeah, we might have had a tongue tie in there and made it through that. This time, like I said, it's just, he did well first couple months. In the beginning, you're engorged, you have all this milk and it comes out fast. And then once your milk is regulated, that's when he might have started feeling like, I have to work for this milk. And I think that's what's throwing us off. All I can say is it's a challenge. And if you can push through, great. If you can't, and you got to give formula, that's great too.
Are the midwives helping you, or are you just researching and trialing and error kind of thing?
They are definitely more helpful, I feel like, than the pediatrician. I feel like pediatrician is just, they only have like 15 minutes to tell you what to do, and they don't know, maybe don't always listen and ask the right questions. The midwives are a lot more helpful, I feel, but we live 2.5 hours away from my midwives. So I don't feel like I can just make an appointment and show up when I'm
Right.
having issues. So I am doing a lot of research. I have found like this amazing podcast that has helped me through breastfeeding, The Milk Minute.
Oh, that's a fun name.
Yeah, and they are great. They're two ladies that they have the best time, and they're funny and just really helpful. They have a ton of episodes, and they're just like super helpful to listen to, and they explore so many topics that I didn't even realize that I was interested in, but definitely recommend for sure. Anyone who's pregnant or breastfeeding, even if you're breastfeeding a toddler, like they talk about breastfeeding later years too. So
Interesting. I would never think that you can make a whole podcast on breastfeeding.
oh my gosh, the things they talk about, and I've learned so much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Shows how much I know.
It's definitely recommended for people who are pregnant to listen. And that way, when you do have an issue pop up when you are breastfeeding, it's not like you're in the sleep deprived, oh my God, I don't know what to do moment. Like you have this background knowledge of what could happen and what to do in that situation.
That's a good one. And mentally, how have you been?
I'm not gonna lie, my anxiety is pretty high right now. I feel like I have a lot on my plate. I homeschool my little girls, and I've got 3 teenagers, and my house is a disaster, and I feel I've got a lot of plates in the air. Is that the right?
Spinning plates, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah.
But in the best way. Like having a baby is just, it's the most beautiful relationship. It's so rewarding and it's the best. So even though things are hard and I'm struggling, it's okay. I know this is just a blip in time. I'll be able to look back on this and think about all the wonderful things. So even though it's hard, it's the best.
So you feel like it's manageable.
Yeah.
You'll get through this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm practicing breathing. It's hard to find time for in this early stage, but it's important.
Is there anything else you want to add about your pregnancy or birth?
If I could give any advice, it would just be to learn about postpartum and be prepared for that as best you can, because a lot of people in pregnancy, I feel like they're focused on the birth, and it's a big deal, and you should watch all kinds of birthing videos and read all about it and be prepared for that mentally and physically, taking care of your body and preparing for that mentally. But I also think it's equally important to focus on postpartum and really be prepared for that stage.
Do you have plans to have more kids in your 40s?
No, I don't. But I've said that before. I've said I'm done. I'm not having any more before, but I've never really felt done. I love being a mom and having babies, but I think with 6 kids and my oldest just turned 18, I feel like my next one will be a grandchild. And that's okay.
Okay. What has been your biggest challenge being pregnant in your 40s?
Just being tired, walking up the stairs and being out of breath. It's a lot. I have big babies. My first baby was 8'7", pounds 7 ounces. My second was 8'9". the next two were both 9 pounds, 2 ounces. I was prepared for a very large baby. He wasn't that big because
You're so early. And is there anything you'd recommend that would help prepare someone for pregnancy and birth in their 40s?
Have a plan, but don't feel like that plan doesn't go exactly the way you plan. It's okay. Have something in mind for what you want and be open to it not going exactly that way.
And how many follow-up appointments do you have with your midwife? Someone else said that she had 6, and I just wondered if that was the same for you.
It maybe could have been, but with me living so far and it being my 5th baby, I think they were like, if you want to come, you can. For me, I didn't feel the need. We stayed at that Airbnb close by for a few days after the birth and did go back. I think if I wanted them to come visit me, they would have done that. I did go back at 6 weeks, but I think it's different because I live so far.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
they
curious
could've-
about it being so far away. Was this a birth center that you just loved?
It was an insurance thing.
Oh.
There is a closer birth center that we could have done a water birth at, but it's in Georgia and they didn't take our insurance. So we decided to go to Charleston and we planned for that.
And what advice would you give yourself when you were pregnant if you could go back?
I wish that I could not stress so much. It's easy to say, don't stress so much, knowing how things turn out. But I think it's really important to take care of yourself mentally and just do some yoga and do some breathing exercises.
And where can our listeners find you on the internet?
I love Instagram. My account is HHI Tribe. And I love to share a lot in stories. I share a lot about homeschooling and mom life. So hopefully I can meet you there.
Audrey, thank you so much for sharing your story.
This was fun. Thank you.